again and welcome back to another session of Commerce class with me, Suman Rathore. Students, joint stock company is an artificial person created by law having separate legal entity, limited liability, perpetual succession and a common seal. And formation of a company is a very lengthy and complex process which involves several legal formalities and procedures. But for the convenience of study and understanding, it is mainly divided into 4 stages. First is promotion stage, second is incorporation stage, third is flirtation stage, and fourth is commencement of business stage. So now let's understand these stages one by one in detail. So first is promotion stage. Now promotion of a company involves various steps. Like first is discovery of business idea. The process of starting a business always begins with conception of an idea in the mind of the promoters. It may involve setting up of a new business unit or expansion of an existing unit. And for that, he may have several ideas in his mind. And he has to decide which is the most feasible and profitable one. Because we all know that the main motive of a business enterprise is to earn maximum profit. Next step is detailed investigation. Now under this, an investigation is made as to what to produce, how to produce, when to produce, etc. And an investigation is made to determine the technical feasibility and economic viability of the business idea. And for this, the services of experts like engineers, accountants, marketing experts, etc. is taken to prepare a project report. Next step is verification of project report. Now under this step, the detailed project report submitted by the experts is again verified by a separate team of experts to decide whether to start working on the project or to drop the idea of starting the business. Next step is assembling the resources. Now once the business idea is found to be feasible and profitable, the promoter takes steps to give it a concrete shape. He assembles human and physical resources and makes contracts with underwriters, bankers, brokers, etc. for raising the necessary finance. And then arrangements are made for installation of machinery, supply of materials, recruitment of staff, etc. So basically, under this step, human and physical resources are assembled and arranged. Now second is incorporation stage. Now incorporation stage basically involves all the formalities which is required for the registration of a company as a body corporate under the Companies Act. And this stage also involves various steps. Like first is approval of name. Approval from the registrar of companies is taken regarding the proposed name of the company. And for this purpose, an application is sent to the registrar with a set of 3 names in order of priority. The company may adopt any name which is not prohibited and which does not resemble the name of an existing company. Now second is filing of Memorandum of Association and Article of Association. Now Memorandum of Association is the principal document of a company which defines the objects and powers of the company, and Articles of Association contains all the rules and regulations for the management of internal affairs of the company. We will cover this Articles of Association and Memorandum of Association in detail in our next video. So under this step, a duly signed Memorandum and Article of Association is submitted with the Registrar of Companies. Next is list of directors. Now under this step, a list of directors with their name, age, occupation and address together with their consent to act as the directors of the company is also filed with the Registrar of Companies. Next is an undertaking. Now, persons who agreed to act as directors are allotted certain number of shares as their rights to act as such, and an undertaking signed by each director to take up and pay for the qualification shares is also filed with the Registrar of Companies. Next is statutory declaration and fees. Now, a statutory declaration signed by director, manager, secretary of the company, or an advocate or chartered accountant stating that all the provisions of the Companies Act with regard to the incorporation have been duly complied with is also filed together with the filing fees, stamp duty and registration fees. The amount of registration fees varies according to the amount of authorized capital of the company. Next is Certificate of Incorporation. Now under this, the Registrar of Companies will carefully scrutinize the documents filed by the company, and if he is satisfied, then he will enter the name of the company in his register and issue a certificate of incorporation to the company. The certificate of incorporation is a conclusive proof of the fact that a company was duly incorporated and now it can act as a distinct legal entity in the eyes of the law. Next is flirtation stage. Now, a private company can commence its business immediately after incorporation, but a public company must raise the necessary capital and obtain the certificate of commencement of business before starting its operations. So basically, a private company can start its operations after completing the first two stages, but a public company has to go through all the four stages before starting its business operations. Now under this, the first step is approval of SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India. Now under this, approval from SEBI is taken that the proposed issue of shares and debentures is in accordance with the guidelines prescribed by it. Then only a company can issue its shares and debentures to the general public. Next is appointment of brokers, etc. Now under this, brokers, bankers, secretaries, auditors, etc. are appointed by the company to facilitate the issue of shares and debentures, and such appointments are made in a meeting of the board of directors. Next step is prospectus. Now, a prospectus is a kind of invitation to the general public to subscribe to the shares and debentures of the company. It contains a summary of company's history, its present position and future prospects. I'll cover this topic also in detail in our coming videos. Now under this step, a copy of prospectus is filed with the registrar, and then after its approval, it is printed and issued. Next is minimum subscription and allotment of shares. Now, minimum subscription is the amount of issue which has to be subscribed, or else shares cannot be issued. And every company who is inviting funds from the public through the issue of shares or debentures needs minimum subscription of 90% of the issued amount on the date of closure. Otherwise, it has to refund the entire subscription it has received. Now, under this step, if the minimum subscription is raised within the prescribed time period, then the allotment of shares is made and the share certificates are issued to the applicants. Now the last stage is commencement of business. Now this stage basically includes all kinds of declarations like declaration regarding shares, declaration regarding directors, and a statutory declaration that all the requirements and formalities are duly complied with. This declaration is signed by the director and secretary of the company. And then again, the registrar will scrutinize all the documents, and if he is satisfied that the documents are in order, then only he will issue a certificate of commencement of business. And a public company can start its business from the date mentioned in that certificate. So now we know that a private company can start its business operations immediately after incorporation. But a public company has to go through all the 4 stages before starting or commencing its business operations. That's all for today. Thanks for staying in tune and don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Thank you and goodbye for now.